The second Stokvel and Burial Societies in Indaba takes place in venues across the country for the next 3 months. Now, it serves as a platform for various stakeholders to engage and form solutions to ongoing challenges. Stokvels are a group of saving schemes providing mutual financial assistance, and it serves as a safety net for many South Africans. To unpack, Taviso Masudubele joins us in studio. Very warm welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Stokvels and Burial Societies in Indaba. I think before we get to that roadshow and unpack that, can you help us understand what a Stokvel is? What is the membership participation, etc.?
I think the basic premise of a Stokvel is around a collective gathering and saving towards a common purpose. I think that's the underlying definition, I'd say. That common purpose then varies. You have people who come together towards getting groceries, you have people come together for planning trips at the end of the year, and then you have people get together for issues of dignified funerals and so on. So you move into the burial society space. But just at the premise of it, it's about collective and it's about common purpose, a group of people coming together. In terms of membership, it's normally people who know each other. I mean, that's how it started. So it has to do with a lot more than just money. So I think sometimes what we miss is that we have this notion that it's just about bringing money and going away, but it's about the hands and the camaraderie and just the relationship that's built and the rapport that's built. So it's about building community. That's why it has all these important nuances attached to it. So that's basically what it is. Yeah.
So you mentioned the financial and social benefits that a Stokvel provides for community. I just want to know from you why the need to create such a, like, how did it exist? Where did it come from? I was reading that it started from Stokvels in 19th century with auctions of English settlers. How has that evolved over the years to become a respected billion-dollar sector?
I think what's happened is that the strength of collective within communities just gradually took over. I mean, it's always existed. And then as, periods changed and as economies changed, the idea of clubbing together towards a common purpose continued. In fact, it continues to this day. I think what's changed is the mechanisms and the logistics on how it happens. So in the past, you'd have where there wasn't currency, people would do it in stock and vegetables and so on. Now you've got currency, so people do it in currency. But the underlying things have remained. And I think by and large, what we tend to miss is the community development aspect of these things, and we look at the financial. So it's both. So people, it's not just about the money, as I say, and this is an emphasis. It's about the money, but it's as well as clubbing together with people I know, people I trust, that our money will grow together and we'll benefit together as this group.
Now, the concept of Stokvels, I mean, how fully is it understood? And also by room? What has been its reach, just in terms of also the demographics that is prevalent within implementing such a model?
Look, I think in terms of numbers, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. You've got in excess of 800,000 groups of Stokvels within South Africa, and that encompasses Stokvels as well as burial societies. You've got 11.2 million plus people who belong to at least one Stokvel or the other. Now, the common practice is that you'd have someone who belongs to a savings Stokvel, and then you'd have someone who belongs to some sort of insurance Stokvel, like a burial society or funeral policy or whatever it is. And I think, by and large, our take is that the corporate sector has dealt with this from a numbers point of view. So Stokvel members and burial societies members have essentially become fodder for financial service institutions. I mean, it's a 44 billion rand plus industry. Every year there's research where people are trying to put their finger on it. I mean, financial institutions have accounts, Stokvel, club accounts, and every, when you read the Sunday papers, there's a funeral policy. Every company has a funeral policy. So that gives you an indication of the amount of money that's in there. But I think the challenge is engaging with people, that it's not just about money. And I think for me, what then inspired us is looking at the relationship between Stokvels and burial societies and financial service institutions and access to information where people are able to say, what's the value that I'm deriving as an individual and as a collective? What's the value?
So the Stokvel and Burial Society in Indaba, that's obviously now in its second year. Based on what you've just said, how has it grown since its inception, and what has been the value added for people attending the Indaba as well?
Okay. I think the first one, with every first occasion you get a bit nervous, but the first one actually spurred us on because we had anticipated about 300 delegates coming through. We ended up sitting on around just under 600 delegates coming through. Now, what we tried to do was, we have experiences of conferences that you pre-register, you get a delegate bag, you get a program, you get all these free goodies. But people in townships generally, we try to provide the same experience and treat this sector with the respect that we think it deserves. So these are the kinds of things that we've done as we've developed this thing. In terms of it growing, I mean, we've moved from one Indaba to having 6 in
a year. Wow.
I mean, I think that just talks to either we're crazy but it just talks to the need for the demand, because that was born out of people having traveled to come to our first one, which was in Soweto. People were traveling as far afield as the Northwest Province and, far corners of Gauteng. So we've decided to take it around to all those places.
So in terms of partners that have come on board, I mean, I read that the JSE is involved, etc. Can you walk us through their participation in the Indaba?
Correct. So what we've done is, I mean, we've spent a couple of months engaging with various partners to say, we understand that the end game is making a profit, making money, but it's also about providing information for people so that people can make an informed decision. So it's a decent balance between sales as well as financial literacy and just issues of development. So we've worked with partners like Old Mutual, Hollard, the JSE to explain to people these are the products generically. This is how insurance works. This is how you can invest money on the stock exchange. So you don't have to be some rich person in Sandton to be able to participate in the economy. And these are the tools and mechanisms that you can use. So it was important that our partners understand that it's not just about coming there and selling. It's about coming, creating a platform where the ordinary person can engage with a senior manager of an institution and get their problem solved. One, but as well as put a face to a name to say, I've been with you guys for 30 years. Thank you for, it's about customer relationship management, which is missing in that part of the sector. There's absolutely no appreciation for Stokvels in terms of client retention and that sort of thing.
So in terms of the program and the issues, topics, etc. that are covered, I mean, what can people expect should they attend the Indaba?
When people come to the Indaba, they should come with a bag full of questions. Firstly, on how funeral policies work. What's the difference between company A and company B? Because they're literally the same, but the premiums are different. So you delve into issues from insurance point of view. How does insurance work? Why do you have to? What are the risks inherent in insurance? What's your recourse? Should you feel aggrieved? Is there an ombud? Issues of regulatory environment. The Financial Services Board, for instance, they'll come through and explain that you have to be registered with the FSB in order to sell certain products. So it's a whole host of issues that we deal with and just give people information and clarity on how to move within the parameters of the law and value for themselves at the Indaba.
So should people want to contact you, getting more information, how do they go about doing that? Dates and times, etc., venues as well?
Okay. As we said, in fact, we've got an Indaba going on in Kagiso to the west of Johannesburg in Mogale City. That was this weekend. On the 28th and 29th, we are in Soweto at the Soweto Theatre. So that's the 28th, 29th in Soweto. We are in Tshwane on the 15th and 16th of October. And then we move to Limpopo on the 22nd and 23rd of October. We then move to Mafikeng on the 29th and 30th. For people to participate in any of those areas, they can send an SMS to 45548. The SMS number is 45548 with their name, the name of their group, as well as the region that they're in. They can also send a please call me to 082 392 2538. And they can also go to our website to see how they can participate.
Okay. Thabiso, just in conclusion, I want to know from you before you leave, what has been a myth surrounding Stokvels and burial societies that you would like to debunk today for all those listening and watching?
That, simply bluntly put, that poverty equals stupidity. I think for me that's the biggest irritation, that just to assume that people who have less income cannot digest certain things. So there's this massive gap between, for instance, LSM5 downwards and people who talk about the JSE and shares and so on. Whereas, in fact, there's a link. When companies succeed and they announce their results on the JSE, it's as a direct result of the deposits that are made by the lower income groups who plow in millions and millions of rand in cash to enable banks to enable insurance companies to have the kind of capital that they have to buy property and do all of this. And yet that relationship is not reciprocal. I think for me, the imbalance between the client financial service relationship within the section is very skewed, and this is the problem.
Okay, Thabiso Masudubele, you chats about the Stokvel and Burial Society in Indaba taking place in various venues across the country for the next 3 months, serves as a platform for stakeholders to engage and also form solutions to ongoing challenges faced there.